Welcome everybody to the Give It Podcast for blurs, for nerds. If you have a fandom, you are most certainly welcome here. Of course, I'm your host, the most Black Spartan. Of course, the man to my left, to your right, Show Guy Joe. Insert comedy. How you doing today, Joe?
I was left unsupervised again.
Usually I used to good things. As you got that. But no, but aside from that, guys, even though me and Joe are seasoned, as we like to say here, we do try to watch our language, but sometimes words do fly. At the same time, we do show a lot of movie trailers and video game trailers that might be graphic to some viewers, so viewer discretion is advised. Aside from that, welcome. So, well, we kind of thought we would have a nice, positive way of really introducing this week for our episode 137 of the GB podcast. But fortunately, very late evening yesterday, the world of anime and manga did unfortunately receive some very troubling, very grave news that me and Joe unfortunately have the displeasure of reporting, but it must be reported. Akira Toriyama. If you don't remember that, if you know that name, then you know the guy that basically gave us arguably one of the best animes, mangas out there, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Z Super. He did pass away. Yeah, we can keep going down the list, but unfortunately, the legendary creator did pass away at 68. They said that he passed away from, what was it again, Joe? They say he passed away from
an acute subdural hematoma.
Yeah.
So almost an acute brain bleed.
Yeah. So again, the world of anime and manga is definitely rocked right now by this loss. He was a man that did take a lot of pride, a lot of joy in his craft, and we definitely did. Let's be honest. If for a lot of us that saw Dragon Ball the first time got hooked. A lot of us that saw Dragon Ball Z the first time that got hooked. That saw Sandland got hooked. I mean, we can keep going.
Those of us that saw Dragon Ball GT just kind of tilted our heads and squinted like, the hell.
Yeah. So, we could go down the list, but it's like the fact that this man really did influence the world of manga and anime as we know it is no longer with us. And to be honest, the best way that we could show this, guys, was possibly a trailer for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. And yes, if you've seen the trailer, but the wording behind it is what we want you to pay attention to, because to be quite honest, guys, we all felt this way when we first saw Goku. So the best way to actually show it is to play it.
あの頃オープニングに胸がワクワクした。
撃てるって本気で信じてた。
アニメの翌日はその話で持ちきりでみんなで真似してた。
次回予告はかなりの衝撃。
シス。今週のジャンプって入ってる。
そう続きが知りたくて買いに走ったっけ。気のコントロール密かにやってたよな。
勝負のつかない技の出し合いとか永遠したりしてね。
なんか自分まで強くなった気がしたんだよな。
今もさ、どっかで信じてる。僕らはみんな 孫悟空だ。ドラゴンボール Z カカロット。
Now, I don't care who you are, really and truly, guys, even though that was a trailer for initially Project Kakarot when it came out, but the wording is still the same. I mean, tell me one person that didn't try to do a Kamehameha. I'm a grown-ass man. I still try every now and then to see if it actually works because you never know. Thank you. I mean, hey, you never know. That one time that you don't try, be the one time you actually might actually do it.
No, I went for the Gallic gun.
Oh, well, that too. Gallic gun or Big Bang or just oh god, we'd be all night. But anyway, if you try at least once, you're a fan, and there's nothing wrong with that. But again, we definitely want to say rest in peace. Of course, the Dragon Ball community did put out a statement. They do respect that everybody wants to send well wishes, things of that nature. But for right now, please don't, out of respect. But eventually, they're going to let people know how they can pay their respects. So let's not bombard any social pages, things of that nature. You know, let's be respectful is all we're saying. But what are you gonna say, Joe?
I mean, it's one of those things of much like how the original Bowl mattress passed away from aortic dissection. It's just very sudden. In all honesty, and this is going to be a little bit inappropriate, but please understand what I mean by this. I always thought Masako Nozawa would go before anybody because the woman is in her 80s. It's just one of those things of like you look at the cast, you look at their age. I mean, they're Japanese, they're going to live forever, but still, it's one of those you just always expect like so and so to be first, but for Toriyama to go, like he made somebody that's going to be in the cultural zeitgeist forever. I literally posted a picture yesterday where I'm walking down in a grocery aisle and Goku's on a Reese's peanut butter cup cereal box. Like, we don't get that.
Yeah, we don't get a lot.
Like, if you're on a cereal box, you're in there for a while.
Yeah.
Like, the lasting impact on some of this stuff is like gonna be forever.
Yeah.
You can even use its own methodology to. You don't want to know who. The question of who's stronger than Goku will always be a thing. If you're a smart man and pay attention to Toriyama's work alone, the answer is Arale.
Yeah,
Arale is the strongest character in all of Dragon Ball.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. There's always going to be that discussion of who's stronger than Goku. I mean, although Sailor Moon fans may have a point, but I'm letting that go. That debate will always be eternal. But
Arale is stronger than Sailor Moon. Here's why. Because they actually pointed this out. A gag manga character is always going to be stronger than an action shonen character because the rules of logic and circumstance do not apply to them at any point.
Interesting.
The number of times Arale has literally split the earth in half from a single punch is in the double digits. It was even said in the Dragon Ball crossover with Dr. Slump, where Goku just tells Vegeta's like, we can't beat her. She's a gag manga character.
Damn. I'm sorry. The fact that it's actually
the fact that also means Luffy can now beat Goku because he's now officially a gag manga character.
That's saying a lot. But again, we always but we do want to say rest in peace, Toriyama. So because again, going into those debates is a rabbit hole, but we still want to give her respect. But although it is sad news we're reporting, we do want to get to happier news because we do have a couple of happy news, actually. They're kind of quick. Me and Joe have both sat there and said that in the world of DC, or now known as the Gunverse, that, certain people that we saw on the CW-DC side would be great on the movie side, which still mystified us that you had great casting in TV that wouldn't transition to movies. Hence, Grant Gustin, again, the star of the show of The Flash on CW that did have success. It was always said that because of the issues with Ezra Miller and The Flash, and or as my friend Chris Fury called it, Batman and Friends, that it was a doomed ship. Even though Michael Keaton was great, we still could have had the setup for Batman Beyond. But I digress. Anyway, Grant Gustin has always been put up in line to actually play the Flash because of his role in the CW. And then someone finally sat there and asked Grant Gustin, would you actually reprise your role as the Scarlet Speedster in Gunn's DC? Grant did sit there and say, if James Gunn asked me, I would come back as the Flash because it is a project that's very near and dear to his heart. Well, why are we talking about this? The reason why we're talking about this is because James Gunn has sat there, and again, I give the man credit where credit is due. If James Gunn is mentioned somewhere, a response is not too far off. And I do mean that because James Gunn has sat there and said that he would love to work with Grant Gustin as the Flash in an upcoming project. He said, quote unquote, Grant is an incredibly talented guy who I believe is now performing on Broadway. And is absolutely not going to waste because he's not currently in a DC project. But of course, I would love to work with him at some point. So that makes me happy because I think Gunn is really listening to the fans. At the same time, as we said before, me and Joe have both said this. We see nothing wrong with Grant Gustin being the Flash in the same sense that John Wesley Shipp, who played his father in The Flash, was a great pick of the Flash himself in the older TV series. But that's good. And again, I know everybody's like, well, he just said that he will work with him. I mean, but again, let's not forget, Gunn is still in the middle of the first chapter of DC, Gods and Monsters. So it's nice to know that he already has him in mind if a Flash project comes up. But Joe, any thoughts on that?
I think the key wording there is wants to work with Grant Gustin. That doesn't necessarily mean in the Flash capacity. We already know that he wants to work with Jason Momoa, and all signs are leading to Lobo. Nothing is confirmed, but all signs are leading to Lobo.
I'm gonna go ahead and say
you can cast Grant Gustin in numerous things, not necessarily just the Flash. But if it was the Flash, I would not cast him as Barry Allen again. I would definitely cast him as Wally West. But, that's just me, because let's face it, the CW Flash it's Wally's story. You just put Barry Allen's name on it.
Yeah, I can see that. But no, I can still see him do Barry Allen, but I want to see the Barry Allen from the CW from seasons 1 through 3. I want that. I don't want anything after season 3, because after season 3 was like, we're the Flash and all this stuff. And if you want to understand where I'm going from, guys, you would have to go back to our podcast previously where we said there's an issue with the Flash, that the fact that every episode after season 3 with the CW just made it feel like it was getting away from it. But seasons 1 through 3 of the Flash, perfect, can't knock it. But I do take a little bit of hope out of this because, again, we want to see Gunn succeed. We want to see, as DC fans, we want to see DC succeed. We really do. And again, when you have casting like the Flash out there, and dare I say, if Stephen Amell stops sounding salty, I wouldn't mind seeing him back as the Green Arrow. I really wouldn't. But, once he gets off his salty ass high horse, come right along, because you did a great Green Arrow, in my opinion. But like Joe said, nothing right now is set in stone. He just sat there and said, I would love to work with a guy. But for me, that's as close to a confirmation as anything else. Because the moment I see Jason Momoa as Lobo, I'm satisfied. I'm just gonna be honest about that. But again, like Joe said, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I mean, it's like the opposite side of the aisle where Zack Snyder just came out and said Batman's pointless if he doesn't kill people. It's like, you have the mentality of a 12-year-old. You don't understand the character at all.
I'm like,
Batman has killed. Batman has killed, without a doubt, but not he's not an indiscriminate killer like you want him to be.
The no
That's
kill rule.
Thomas Wayne, not Bruce Wayne.
The thing that kills me is like they always say, well, Batman doesn't kill. I said, yes, the no kill rule that he has to a certain extent. But me and Joe can both quote times that Batman may have inadvertently or just out of spite circumstances killed someone. He didn't outright punish them, but the man does have a few bodies on his head. But his whole overall thing is he doesn't kill. It doesn't mean that he goes out of his way to make sure that he doesn't. I mean, there's not a superhero in DC that doesn't have a body on them, regardless if they choose to kill or not. Outside of Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman doesn't have a rogue gallery for a reason. But
she has a very small rogues gallery, and she's on a first name basis with everybody.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But no, it's just with Snyder. Snyder, I'm like, dude, I want to sit there and say you were pressured by Warner Brothers. You had a tragedy in the middle of filming. You tried to make it right. You had your Snyder cut, sir. You have Rebel Moon on Netflix. It's time to move on. It's really time to, you had your shot. It was cool. Netflix is giving you full cart. Go do it.
And the best you can do is vagina portals and dildo ships.
Yeah, it's just
bravo, sir.
I don't get Snyder sometimes. It's like, dude, you're like that ex-girlfriend that just doesn't know when it's over. Let it go. Really and truly, let it go. But speaking of things that did get let go, again, a quick news story because we do have a lot of trailers. This one, I guess I should have saw coming, but again, Warner Brothers and their massive cutting, Rooster Teeth Rooster Teeth as far as the network will be shut down by Warner Brothers Discovery. However, the podcast of the Roost podcast will still continue as a separate entity. Now, for all those that are not familiar with Rooster Teeth, if you remember a certain show called Red versus Blue, if you're a Halo fan, that's where that came from. And again, it's kind of sad because I love Rooster Teeth for the content they were putting out. If anything, I would like to say Rooster Teeth and Cackle and Crackle and other sites really led to sketch comedy and other things that we're used to now as far as online creation content goes. But Warner Brothers right now, guys, is in a free fall. Zaslav is cutting everything humanly possible. At the same time,
unless it's reality TV.
Unless it's reality TV. But again, this is kind of sad. It is bittersweet because again, I thought Rooster Teeth was great with the shows that they put out. But again, it's Warner Brothers Discovery. Almost nothing is safe outside of reality shows. But Joe, anything you want to add to that?
I mean, there's a bit of a great loss there. I mean, Rooster Teeth certainly had its stumbles here and there with some employees. I mean, the two biggest losses here are Red versus Blue and Ruby. Certainly not Genlock. Genlock got tampered with by WB to the point where it became unwatchable.
Yeah.
Deathmatch, I have no idea what's going on with Death Battle. Because I know they were also a subsidiary of Rooster Teeth, but I don't know what happens with them. But no, the two biggest casualties in this are definitely Ruby and Red versus Blue. I guarantee you Microsoft will probably just do something.
Yeah.
You can get them. Ruby, I think, is already being looked at by certain people for purchasing efforts because, WB tried that Ruby versus the Justice League animated duology and it was fine. There was nothing wrong with it, but it wasn't over the moon fantastic. The latest season of Ruby was really good, though, and the anime series was also very well done.
It just didn't draw.
Those are the two biggest casualties. It kind of sucks, but hopefully both of them will be bought by their home studios or people that worked on it. Or Rooster Teeth just starts back up and goes back on its way before it does anything. Because they existed without the help of Warner. Warner bought them out because they saw them as a viable commodity, and Zaslav just likes making everything a tax write-off these days.
Pretty much. But speaking of assurances, again, this will be the last thing before we get to our picks and fan fest. This kind of goes without saying, but I guess it needs to be said because of us switching from DC to now switching to Marvel. But Imani Vellani assured is the word they're using by Marvel Studios that Miss Marvel will return. Yeah. This is the part I struggle with because they're trying to say that the Marvels did not have an impact at the box office. However, if you look at Disney Plus and you look at Steelbook sales, the Marvels is cleaning up as far as viewership rates on Disney Plus, and you can't find a Steelbook DVD collection anywhere on the Marvels. Now, it could be the fact that a lot of people are now waking up to getting physical copies instead of digital. That's a whole nother discussion. But the fact that probably one of the most beloved characters in the MCU right now has to be informed. Now, keep in mind, me and Joe both said this. Not only is Miss Vellani, of course, Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan herself, she actually writes the comic book for Miss Marvel. She's actually one of the writers, which again, a great run that she's doing right now. But it is amazing that you have to be assured that Miss Marvel is going to return, considering the fact of how the Marvels ended. Which I'm like, why is this a story? We know she's gonna be back. We know that Marvel is trying to introduce the young, and again, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the end of the Marvels. We know at some point the Marvels is going to try to introduce the Young Avengers, and that's fine. But we know that at this point, Kamala Khan's character is integral to the MCU as it stands. So I'm just like, why is this a thing? Because if anybody's job, in my opinion, outside of maybe Samuel L. Jackson, if anybody's job is safe in the MCU, Samuel Jackson is number one. Imani Vellani has to be number two. But I'm just like, Joe, am I reading too much into this, or is this just a slow news day for Marvel Comics?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a slow news day. It's just, we got a lot of recalibrating that Marvel has to do right now. I mean, they really gotta ship correct and whatnot. So telling certain cast members you're good is probably a good way to go. Like we know the Young Avengers, all different Avengers, or the Champions are coming at some point. There's like three different iterations of this that could happen. My biggest regret is we don't have a live action Miles to pair with her because Ms. Marvel usually teams up with Miles more than she does Peter. She does team up with Peter. Yeah. But usually her Spider-Man is Miles because it was Miles, Sam, Ms. Marvel were part of the Champions. They were part of the all different Avengers at one point. Kate Bishop was kind of here and there with the Young Avengers, but Ms. Marvel was not really a part of the Young Avengers. Yeah. So, I mean, but this is the MCU, so that could be their version. But it's just one of those, regrets we don't have Miles. But back to the Mon Vellani thing. I think she's going to be fine. Hopefully they'll do a season 2 soon. That way we can have that pigeon-headed mad scientist as her arch villain for the season. Or the Hydra reappears, because I know Hydra takes over Jersey City at one point. Yeah. There's so many things you can do with her. I would say the other safe person in Marvel would definitely be Mark Ruffalo, because, if you need a co-star, the Hulk is always there for you. Oh, yeah. Regardless if his son shows back up or not, that's a different story. That part. But, less said about Scar, the better. We don't talk about. I almost wanted to. We don't talk about Bruno for a second, but no. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's just that it's amazing that assurances had to be said. But I do hope we do see a second season of Miss Marvel, because again, that was brilliantly written. But some things I'm like, does it really need to be said because of her popularity? But I digress. But anyway, before we get to our Fan Fest trailers, because we did have some picks of games that are coming up that we think you should pay attention to. Garfield the movie had a new trailer, and you know what? I was wondering how they're going to tell Garfield's story, and in this one, it looks it's kind of interesting. And when I mean interesting, I mean I didn't see this coming. It gives me hope.
Wait here, Junior. I'll be right back.
Oh. You hungry, little guy?
Buon famiglia, stai in lasagna?
Go. I'm gonna name you Garfield.
Let's get it.
Good morning.
You deserve to be seen with somebody as fly as me. Somebody. We're gonna need the big scale.
Does she need to announce it to the whole office?
Say when.
Never, John. Bury me in cheese. Life here is pretty near perfect. Little did I know, it was all about to collapse. Odie, I'm dreaming again. Slap me across the face. I think this is a case of mistaken identity. You must be looking for another gorgeous, lovable kitty cat. Big bag hunter with the phone. Big bad, drop it.
Come on, Junior.
You. This is Vic, my father.
Welcome back, Victor.
Listen, I need your help.
Get them!
I haven't seen you for years, and when I do, you're on the run from a deranged cat.
We need to toughen you up.
Hey, I know tough, Vic. You've obviously never been in an Olive Garden that's run out of breadsticks. Follow my lead. Oh, cheddar. Probably one of my top 26 favorite cheeses.
My orange tabby and my dog are both missing.
Your call is very important. There are 1,046 people ahead of you.
Drop them now!
We have to go save my dad.
Oh, that cat's a goner.
You think you can battle these villains on your own?
If I don't make it back, tell my story. Hey, little mama, yeah, you heard about me. Ow, ow, ow.
Part of me wants to help him.
Ow,
No, this is how he learns.
No, please, no. Ow, it's so hot. Ow, it's really hurting. Ow, ow, ow. You saw nothing.
And as you can see, guys, that is the Garfield movie, which will basically be out Memorial Day weekend. I'm sold. I'm sold anyway, regardless of Chris Pratt voicing it. But the fact that I was wondering how they were going to do his story and bring in his father, and then shout out to Odie, because Odie was waiting for the moment to slap Garfield, and that was years. That wasn't just moments. That was years of aggravation, that slap. But Joe, what did you think?
My only complaint is that Garfield's mouth moves when he talks. Like, I understand this is a new thing, but for me, it's like for me and you, we were trained on all the specials and Garfield and Friends. The only time he physically moves his mouth is when he actually meows. Any other time, it's like internal monologue and just like Pets knowing or John being mildly psychic, understanding what Garfield needs at all times. But like, that's one of those like, why is Garfield's mouth moving? You could save so much on your budget if you didn't make his mouth move.
Fair enough. But no, it was definitely going to be good. Like I said, it comes out Memorial Day weekend, so we're definitely looking forward to that. So, IGN Fan Fest. Yes, it did happen a little bit late February. We are now getting to it. If you didn't know what IGN was doing, IGN actually, much like the Video Game Awards, much like Summer of Games, they do come out with a couple of games that are features, also as guests, things of that nature. Me and Joe actually looked at the games, and we actually took our picks. However, if you want to look at all the games, you can definitely go to IGN's YouTube page and check out all the trailers for the Fan Fest. We're only taking the ones that we think are pretty cool and that you should be paying attention to. But I'm gonna first start with I'm gonna start with this one of yours, Joe, about Dave the Diver with the Godzilla version. For all those that don't know, you want to explain about Dave the Diver before we play it?
Dave the Diver is a diving simulator game that also you catch fish and then turn them into sushi. And then hilarious events occur because the place where your sushi restaurant, the lake you're on top of randomly changes its own ecosystem throughout the game, and you can dive in. It's ocean fishes, sharks, mythical beings, creatures like a sharktopus, a great white named something or other. I mean, it's just one of those goofy comfort games I play every day, but it's getting Godzilla DLC because it faces one of Godzilla's lamest villains ever, Ebisu the giant lobster. or I think it's Godzilla versus the Creature from the Deep was what the original thing was. But
yeah.
no, it's like literally one of his lamest foes ever.
All right. For all those who haven't seen the trailer, here it is. That looks interesting. I'm not gonna lie. Now, I've never played Dave the Diver. I know, Joe, you said you did. So the fact that they're bringing the lobster kaiju is definitely saying a lot. But yeah, looks interesting. But what were you gonna say, Joe?
The odd thing to me is their choice of Godzilla. This is Millennium Era burning Godzilla. I wonder what prompted them to do that. I mean, I don't. Clearly, they probably didn't have time to do -1 Godzilla, but this is a very odd choice to do Millennium Era burning. So weird.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, the next pick I have is weird. But you know what? I keep on saying me and Joe both said that some games need to be remade, and I'm gonna be honest. As a Contra fan, I did not see this coming, but I got mixed feelings about this. So they actually did do a Contra game. It's called Contra Operations Galuga. I almost said Galaxia because I'm so used to seeing the words put together. But if you're a fan of the old school shooter like I was on NES, and you probably still remember the code, you get 99 lives, here's the trailer for the new one.
A remote hideout, missing super soldiers, and a doomsday weapon. Hell of a Friday. We meet at last.
Aliens? What the hell? Hey, boys! Looks like a dead end!
You want me to boy Contra?
No, you cannot!
So that was the trailer for Contra Operation Galaga. I'm gonna be honest because I am a Contra fan, and yes, I wanted to see a redone one, and I look at that and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know because number one, I get the whole idea that graphics being done at some point will not look good for some games. I also get that they might be doing just a little too much on the weapons and the upgrade side. I love the fact that it's multiplayer. You can go from 2 players now to 4, which is great. It's just me. And please tell me in the comments if it's not me, it's okay. If it's me, I can live with it. It looks unpolished to me. But Joe, what do you think about it?
In Contra's Contra, just as long as they don't do the 3D 2.5D like they did last time, where it turned out.
Oh yeah,
But no, I can tell what you mean. It looks a little muddy here and there. I don't see any frame rate issues off the top of my head, but you know, it's Contra. Someone will play it. Won't be me, but
I mean, I would love to play it because I mean, I am that much of a fan, but at the same time, I'm just like, it just looks unfinished, and I can't get past that. Like, how in the world is your background? Your background is solid. Your frame rate, again, like you said, frame rate looked like it had any issues. It just looks like it's like the beta version. It's like this is your beta 1 version. You're just seeing it test everything out before we get to the polished side. Now, I could be completely wrong. It could still get polished before it actually gets released. It's just that you want to show your best foot forward on a trailer. It doesn't look like that to me. But again, I digress. You guys let us know in the comments what you think. But G.I. Joe, Wrath of Cobra. Joe, you want to give your thoughts on this before we play it, or just go ahead and play it?
Yeah, it's a double drag. It's a G.I. Joe skin of double dragons. That's
good double dragons or double dragon neon.
I don't know. Roll the trailer. I'll let you make the judgment of that.
Oh Lord! All right, that's concerning a little bit, but let's find out.
I don't know what double dragon neon is.
You know what? That's not bad. That really isn't bad. Okay. So that was G.I. Joe Wrath of Cobra. It looks like it's going to be on Steam. So you can definitely wish list now from Valve. To be kind of honest, I dig it. That did kind of have a Double Dragon Final Fight look. Which
I think the better analogy is it's the Ninja Turtles arcade game skin into G.I. Joe.
Yeah. And it's okay with that. That works. The fact they were really going back to the 1980s cartoon style drawing, I am completely okay with that. And the fact that it's supposed to be silly, it's supposed to be over the top, that freaking works. I am not against that at all. Although, you could have beefed up Roadblock a little bit, but I digress. That's nitpicking.
Also, why is there no shipwreck?
That was another thing. I mean, you got Snake Eyes. If I'm right, Roadblock, Duke, Snake Eyes, Lady J.
No, that's not Lady J. That's Scarlet.
That's Scarlet? Okay, that's Scarlet.
I think Roadhouse.
Yeah.
And then I forget who the pilot is because it's not Wild Bill.
Dang. You know what? That's a good question. Who was the pilot? I can't remember now.
I would have swapped him out for like Flint or Stalker or
it might be Flint.
No, that's not Flint because Flint's got the beret and the
that's right.
bandoliers.
Oh, that's right. So it might be it can't be Stalker.
Stalker's black.
Yeah, no, that's also it can't be Stalker because of that. But it'll come back to me. But anyway, it looks great. I can't knock it. If for a retro game, it looks great to me. So I'm definitely on board with that.
The only thing I got super confused is it says battle iconic villains, and it showed like that Cobra mech. It's like, what iconic villain is that? I do not recognize that.
I was gonna ask that question. I'm like, I don't remember a Cobra mech being a part of it, but I could be wrong. It's like I don't remember a Cobra mech being part of it at all.
That was just like after Serpentor takes over, and the later seasons where they're like directly tied to Cobra Law.
Yeah, it's like your guess is as good as mine on that one because I certainly don't remember. But anyway, looks fun. Next one. I did not think this would be a game, but apparently it is. Who remembers Killer Clowns from Outer Space? If you've seen the cult classic, I know me and Joe have. I know probably people of me and Joe's age probably have. Well, if you ever wonder why a video game was never made, well, you got your wish. Here's the trailer.
Wesker Newton, your truth bombardier here. We got us a kind of a clown invasion I thought only happened in Nevada deserts. The things a clown can do to a person's body, folks, it's depraved, it's disgusting, and often mighty creative. They got big shoes for a reason, folks. Don't make a ruckus. Those bat-eared bastards can hear you coming a mile away. Teamwork is life, amigos, and you have to stay alive to win. Hell yeah! Shit!
Got it!
You want to kill those clowns? Make like a Beverly Hills surgeon and give those real clown wives a nose job. Clowns are here. Clowns are now.
Okay, so that was the trailer for Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the game. As you can see, guys, you can pre-order it February 21st, as it'll be available on Steam, Xbox Series X and S, and PS5. Also coming out June 4th of this year. I did not expect them to go a route of kind of like the Dead by Daylight, Friday the 13th games where you're really solving puzzles versus actually fighting them per se, but it works. I'm not really a fan of those types of games, but I can see how that can appeal to them. And graphics look great. Killer Clowns, they're doing exactly like the movie does. Again, you have to watch the movie to understand why certain things the guy is saying that you need to do. But I see no issues with it. I see he'll do very well. But what about you, Joe?
I mean, these are the people that made, not made, these are the publisher, but these are people that put out Ghostbusters Spirit Unleashed, which was, and still is probably the best Ghostbusters game we have to date, bar the actual one with the original Ghostbusters back in it. But, I'm looking forward to it. Is this something I'll pick up? Maybe. I don't have a strong connection to them as I do Ghostbusters. To be one of those, I'm going to see how many of my friends actually get this and play it, but I'm still going to stick around and bother Ofan to keep updating Ghostbusters.
Cool. I mean, it looks like a solid title anyway. But moving right along, guys, I wanted to cover this because number one, it has Sean Beam in it, and number two, we hope he survives. If you're a fan of Hitman, I know because my favorite Hitman game was Hitman Absolution. Here's Hitman World of Assassination: The Undying.
Your target is Mark Faber, also known as the Undying, a disgraced former MI5 operative currently working as a freelance assassin. Faber has been confirmed killed by ICA agents more than a dozen times. On every occasion, he has managed to come back from the dead. To be entirely honest, this one's a bit of an embarrassment. Please make sure he doesn't come back again.
Is it really bad because it's a Sean Beam joke? I was like, dude, can you not stay alive in anything? But that's Hitman World of Assassination, The Undying, of course, featuring Sean Beam, who basically is the Undying. So apparently this guy just doesn't know when to quit. So I kind of feel bad because I like Sean Beam as an actor. I'm like, dude, can you not stay alive in anything? But otherwise, I've never seen a bad Hitman game. Again, Hitman is, if you don't know what Hitman is, it is basically how you decide to finish a contract, per se. There's various ways to do it. I mean, you could do it silently, you could do it loudly. It depends upon you. But this looks like this be an adaptation to Hitman World of Assassinations. I'm probably gonna give it a shot when it comes out. But what do you think, Joe?
I've never played a Hitman game.
Oh, you never played? Oh, you know, it's interesting. So the fact of the concept of a Hitman game is interesting. But again, I love it. But I'm definitely gonna give that a shot when it comes out. But speaking of things I did not see coming, and Joe beat me to the punch on this because Rocket Knight Adventures, good freaking grief. When I say Rocket Knight, for all those that don't remember the glory days of gaming where you didn't have that many buttons, you didn't have that many triggers, but there was a game called Rocket Knight that it challenged you, but it was fun. And now you're actually getting the Respark Collect before we play the trailer.
Huh?
I said, any thoughts before we play the trailer?
Oh no, it's just super old school.
Mm-hmm.
You said it was hard, it was fun,
Mm-hmm.
gorgeously animated. I can't remember if this was on the Genesis or this was the 32X.
No, it was. Oh, I'm sorry, Rocket Knight. It was 32X. I had to think about that. Well, technically,
you guys don't know what you just said.
Well, technically, Rocket Knight was the first Rocket Knight was Genesis, and then the following games was 32X. But let's just say Sega all together. Anyway, here's the trailer. Okay, so that was the trailer, guys, for Rocket Knight Adventures Resparked. As you can see, pre-ordering right now is happening at limitedrungames.com. It will be available for the Switch, the PS5, and PS4. Again, like me and Joe said, we grew up on these. I mean, for all those around me and Joe's age, or if you have the ability to play it on a ROM, it is fun. Difficult? Yes. Fun also. But that you're getting all these games, it's almost like it was repackaged the same way the Mega Man X collection was packaged. So you're actually getting a lot of great games with different modes on it that you really will enjoy. But again, I got no issues with it. I'm definitely picking that up when that becomes available. But definitely pre-order at limitedrungames.com for that. But Joe, anything else you want to add to Rocket Knight Adventures?
No, it looks fantastic. It's limited run games. They do good work.
Cool. The other one we have, speaking of classics, Turbo Kid. For all those that don't remember the cult classic movie of Turbo Kid, it is definitely a classic, and it is weird, over the top, but fun. But they actually did a video game for it, and when I saw the trailer, I was like, I would give it a shot. Here's the trailer for Turbo Kid. So as you can see, guys, that was the trailer for Turbo Kid. The demo is definitely out there on Steam, but the full game will release on April 10th of this year. I'm sold. I like the fact that it's kind of got an old school vibe to it. It's side scrolling. And again, for you, and I hate to say it, you do kind of have to watch the movie to kind of get an idea of exactly everything that they're showing, but still fun as hell to play. Cannot knock it. But Joe, what do you think of Turbo Kid?
It's currently a Metroidvania.
Mm-hmm.
It's only going to be out on Steam, so I don't think I'll be getting it. But it looks nice.
Oh, cool. I'll tell you what else looks nice, though. You have to explain Bo the Path of the Teal Lotus, because when I saw this, first off, it's freaking beautiful. But anything you want to say before we play the trailer?
It has foxes.
It definitely does have that. Again, guys, if you're a fan of games like Onion Knight, Oni Will of the Wisp, you're gonna like this one. It's called Bo Path of the Teal Lotus. Holy crap. Well, that was Bo Path of the Teal Lotus, guys. As you can see, you can wishlist it now. It will be available on Nintendo Switch, PS5, Xbox Series X, and Steam. That is a lot. And yeah, I am definitely getting Oni, Will o' the Wisp, Okami vibes from it. but I like it. I really do like it. I do. I like the play. I like the flow of it, and I say that because some games you can tell some games have a certain flow mechanic to it, and I love the one on this one. But I'm sold. I know Joe.
No, I am too.
Yeah,
What you just said, the flow, the speed, the movement, the momentum, you just constantly going, constantly moving. I like the fact that they use dioramas. Is it possibly like summons or skills or something?
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Yeah, that's why. No, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
I was correcting myself. Daramakas.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it definitely looks cool. So I'm definitely down for that. The next one, guys, again, this was a surprise to me because when I first saw the name, I was like, the name doesn't really grab me. So I always say don't judge a book by its cover, which I'm glad I didn't, because if I did, I would have missed out on this. This next trailer is called Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, and I'll let you guys be the judges on if you keep up with it or not.
Can I get you a coffee? Maybe something stronger.
Take care, good host.
Watch out, Nor.
Good work, Casey. Come on, then. You asked for it.
Is it me, or do those statues look like you?
They were probably inspired by one of my visits. I traveled to the above when the great below got too much to bear.
Something's off. Keep your eyes peeled.
Persist, Nor. Don't die on me, Nor.
Ready to fly when you are.
So that was the Flintlock Siege of Dawn. As you can see, guys, definitely wishlisted now as it will be coming out this year for Xbox Series X, Game Pass, Steam, and PS5. The first time I looked at this, I was really getting a little bit of God of War, a little bit of really Castlevania Lords of Shadow, but I mean, it looks like it's gonna be fun. It got my attention with the whole gameplay of it all. But I dig it. Joe, what do you think?
I guess on my end, the video was like real. The audio was great, but the video was like really rough, so I couldn't really make out what was going on. Not your fault. I just think it was the video itself being bad on the internet. It looks like you're a fairly straightforward action platformer. I just hope it doesn't go the way that last time they did it.
Not
put out with the
Forspoken?
Animal Companion. Yeah, Forspoken. Hopefully, it doesn't turn out to be a new Forspoken.
I hope it's not, because I really did have a lot of hope for Forspoken, but the fact of how everything, how it all wound up, it really, again, kind of soured it all. But I'm hoping for Flintlock Siege of Dawn, it's going to be better. But I mean, it has the potential to be. But like I said, it could be another Forspoken. I hope it's not, just because it looks like it has enough meat on the bone to actually make it solid. But speaking of solid, I gotta ask you about this one, Joe. Dungeons of Hinterberg. I have never. I mean, say what?
It just looked pretty, so I gave it to you.
I was gonna ask about this because the name, the name of it all, and how the animation it looks, guys. Let me play it. You'll see why I was slightly confused for a second. But here's the trailer for Dungeons of Hinterberg.
Join us in Hinterberg, Austria's hidden gem, where relaxation meets monster-slaying adventure. It's the only choice for the discerning traveler. Join us now up into the majestic peaks of Doberkogel, where your adventure starts and the secrets of Hinterberg begin to reveal themselves. If you thought the mountains had a lot to offer, wait until you see the fantastical forests of Hinterwald. Brimming with magic and mystery, they are a must-see for every visitor. And after an exciting day dungeoneering, come back to our bustling town and enjoy all the amenities Hinterberg has to offer. Relax in our world-class spa, join a new friend for a drink, or take in a movie. The residents are friendly and open to sharing the town's secrets, which will serve you well on your adventures. Armed with all that local knowledge, we suggest you next head out to Kolmstein, where the gorgeous glaciers definitely won't leave you cold. In fact, they're a hit with everyone. It's a beautiful area with hidden depths to discover and some exciting surprises. Hold on. I guess we did promise surprising. Our newest attraction, the recently opened swamps of Brunelsund. It's the latest hotspot for slayers, teeming with new perils and unique curiosities. So from all of us at the Hinterberg Tourist Office, we look forward to welcoming you for your ultimate slaycation.
That was interesting. So that was Dungeons of Hinterberg. As you can see, guys, will come out summer of this year for Steam, Game Pass, Xbox Series X and S. It kind of reminds me of Monster Hunter. If Monster Hunter and what's the best way I could put this? If Monster Hunters was done in full color, like the coloring art style. That's what I said, it threw me off when I first saw this. I was like, oh, the name and the whole story of how everything adds up. I was like, this is different, but I can see the allure. I can see it doesn't have that same type of grit or dirtiness to it as other games do. It's more of a lighter, cleaner, attracting people. Like, you still want the action, but probably not all. I mean, you probably want cartoon violence, but that's probably as close as you want to get to. But I can see the allure of it. It's definitely interesting. They're saying, how hack and slash is more of a leisure trip, but I could dig it. But yeah, it was definitely interesting on that one. But yeah, I see why you got it, Joe. I mean, don't get me wrong, artwork is great on that one. The whole animated cell shade is really cool. It just threw me off when they started explaining exactly what they do there. But either way, pretty cool.
The trailer reminds me, it's like, what if The Legend of Zelda just took a vacation over in Switzerland and did stuff there?
Pretty much. Oh God, it just now hit me. The Four Swords. That's why that animation was bugging me. It reminds me of the Four Swords. But no, still looks interesting as all get out. So the last IGN trailer that we have, guys, from Fan Fest is Forever Winter. This one is different just because it's a tactical survival horror shooter. And again, if you have not seen it, guys, and I know we probably should have said this beginning of this before y'all started this. This one may be a bit graphic, so viewer discretion is advised. Now that, guys, was the trailer for Forever Winter. As you guys can see, that is also another Steam exclusive. It looks great for a tactical shooter. The only thing I worry about, and I say this with absolute certainty, the only thing that I worry about is that we saw another game that was cool. We saw it in Summer of Games. We was excited. We saw it was getting closer to release date. We got excited. Then we found out the day before how they did that game was trash from Jump Street, really suckered a lot of people into buying the game, and then gave no support for it. Do I think this is going to happen with the Forever Winter? I hope not, because again, I'm getting that same feeling of I want to play it. It looks great. It's got a dark story to it. It looks like it's going to be very emotionally driven. I'm looking forward to it. I just hope it's not another day before game. But Joe, any thoughts on that?
It looks like a generic apocalypse shooter to me.
Yeah, I mean, I can get that too, but I'm looking forward to that. But again, that was the trailers from Fan Fest, guys, that we had. There are plenty more out there. If you want to definitely check them out, definitely go to the IGN YouTube page and be able to go from there. But we do got some other news before we get to our Fallout trailer and then on to our comic book pulls of the week. So again, I feel like for a lot of news out there that, you know, this doesn't go without saying, but we got to talk about it. X-Men 97 was released. And of course, if you've watched people that gave reviews on X-Men, the first thing they're going to sit there and say is X-Men is woke. Which is amazing to me because if you have read an X-Men comic or you've watched the animated series, no, X-Men is not woke. It's always been this way. You just now realize that you're more a part of the Friends of Humanity on that show than the actual mutants. It got to the point to where the executive editor had to come back about accusations of wokeness and towards the X-Men, not forgetting that the X-Men were basically the discriminated race of their time, just because they are different and they have powers. So I know, like I said, usually I was going to chalk this up to a slow news day, but I am just surprised. Since X-Men 97 has came out, so many people are there saying, well, how can you know X-Men is woke? Morph, how is Morph non-binary? Because he can shapeshift. Same way like Mystique. Mystique can shapeshift. It's not, and if you followed her story with Nightcrawler, you'd really be mad about that. from that standpoint, although that's well within her ability. But again, it's interesting because I love how they said this right here. Reading comprehension is an all-time low. Yeah, it is. Because if you've never seen the X-Men, then you already know it's not about wokeness. It is literally about how people are different, are viewed, and sometimes hunted. Hence why Magneto and Professor X, if you wonder why they sound like two certain civil rights leader figures, it's because they were based on them. Again, X-Men is not woke. This is not new, but it seems to be new for people that are just now jumping on the board, jumping on the X-Men train and not realizing this is how it's always been. But Joe, any thoughts on that?
As much as I applaud Tom Brevoort for doing this, this is one of those I wish he wouldn't feed the trolls, because interacting with him just brings out more and more and more. I know that this got screened by screeners. The show itself does not actually come out until March 20th, which is not too far away. We already have the title announcements for the episodes. I don't get people sometimes. Like, we know this. In all honesty, we knew this was coming because we've been saying, we can't wait until they announce X-Men so that everybody can say how woke it is and not completely misunderstand the message of X-Men.
Yeah.
This was Stan Lee's outlet for minority discrimination in 1963 when this came out, along with the other creators of it. I mean, Chris Claremont was very, very straightforward in what he wanted during his phenomenal run in there. The key to X-Men has always been about discrimination and treatment of minorities and mistreatment of the misunderstood or the unknown. So, like, I don't get people. Like, at this point, we're just using that. It's from Princess Bride. You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Pretty much.
Like,
but yeah. No, go ahead.
The whole non-binary thing is the stupidest thing in the world because he's a shapeshifter. He can identify as anything he wants. Just because they're using the amorphous face from the Exiles now as opposed to his human face that he presented the whole way through. I mean, half of that was because I don't even think the Exiles was a thing at that point.
No.
So, like, they didn't really have, like, they knew who Morph was. He was a toss-away character. It's like, one of the other characters that became really big only in Exiles, but he was like a toss-away character in the X-Men. The one who could, like, absorb powers and then, like, keep a set of 5 powers, so he had all 5 powers of the X-Men for Mimic. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was like, wait.
Like, yeah, so it's like, this just annoys the crap out of me because people just, like, prove that people will complain about anything and they don't understand what they're complaining about.
Pretty much. But again, you shouldn't be surprised. I mean, if you're surprised at this point, whoo, boy, there's going to be some stories that are going to be next minute. They're just going to have you just all over annoyed from your mom's basement.
And I'll say this much. For those of us that are X-Men fans, we know what the book's really about. It's how messy a breakup is. It's how two middle-aged men break up and make their breakup the mess of everybody. Bring everybody in their business. That's the core thing of the X-Men.
Although Magneto was right. Magneto was right the entire time.
Matt Isengard, or Eric Lisher, or Magneto, or whatever we're calling him this year. He was right. Like, maybe not to the point of the exterminate doing what was done to him to that extent, but he was right.
Oh well, yeah, but yeah,
it's like why I agree with Megatron half this time. And sometimes peace through tyranny is the only way things work. Maybe not to that extent, but also, he got lost. Megatron got lost in his cause, but he got better.
That is true. But other quick news before we get to our Fallout trailer, guys. Again, we should not be surprised by this. PlayStation is issuing refunds for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League because of technical issues, of bugs, live service fails. PlayStation is even arguing that if you did do a request for a refund, more than likely it is going to be recredited back to your account. And I feel bad for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League because it had so much promise coming from Rocksteady, coming from the Arkhamverse series. You think that they would have had this nailed, but again, various issues, deadlines that had to be met. The live service that tried to go along with the game failed horribly. Everybody had guns, which again didn't make any sense considering two of the characters are not really gun users. And let's not even get started on the story that they went with in the game. Again, it was a massive train wreck from the beginning. So I get the fact that PlayStation right now is trying to kind of go about face. They're trying to save it. They're trying to, salvage the wreck from this. But ultimately, if you wait long enough, Kill the Justice League will probably be on PlayStation Plus. That's all I'm saying. But Joe, any thoughts?
I mean, the only other time they've done this, just flat out hand out refunds, was Cyberpunk 2077 in the PS4 version. But I mean, this gets on. There's another story that kind of ties into this is the WB executives are doubling down on the live service, despite the fact that your live service game tanked. But your one and done AAA light IP single player game brought you $1 billion. Hogwarts Legacy brought you guys $1 billion, but you're going to tank that to continue with live service, which is a failing trend in the game industry, unless it's an FCG. And even then, we got so many people griping about Tekken Store, but they don't understand certain things about fighting games are function a little bit differently than other DLC. Like a lot of times, and I don't have insider information. This is all my perspective of how the game industry works, but I follow enough gaming related people to where I feel like I can say this comfortably and not sound like an idiot. Fighting games, their DLC is needed to fund the next character in line for DLC, or in some case, storyline expansion. But even then, it's very minimal. Or implement new stages, new characters, which is why we pay real money for costumes and whatnot. But like a AAA DLC is probably planned along with the game, like the new Spider-Man DLC. The new Spider-Man patch just dropped. They gave us new suits, new game plus, and a whole bunch of other implements. Accidentally leaked some trophies for the upcoming Beetle DLC. We knew about that a while ago. Our buying the game did not entirely fund the DLC. The DLC was planned from Jump Street. It's going to come in threes like it did the last one. Harry Potter is getting DLC now. But, I mean, the game was not solely dependent on funds for its DLC. Not like fighting games. Like, the reason why we have to have stores is so that they can have the additional funds to plot out seasons to make additional characters and stages. Doubling down on a live service trend, which is bad, is... I'm not going to buy your battle pass. If I buy a third-person shooting game, I'm not going to buy your battle pass. I'm just not. I don't care what kind of boot you give it to me. I just bought Helldivers 2 because I got it $20 off because of that PlayStation All-Stars thing. So the thing was only like $24.99. I'm not going to buy the battle pass
But Helldivers 2 is so fun to play. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I was very tired during midday and took a nap while playing on accident. But like even in game, the super coin, which you can pay real monetary value with, if you give medals to them to the game that you earn, they give you super coin in return. Meaning you can do actual in-game transition to pay for real life instead of paying real life money. But of course, it's also Helldivers 2. They're making money hand over fist right now, but
pretty much
like why would you double down on a dying trend everybody tells you stop doing, and say, we're not going to do the thing that made us $1 billion. We're going to do the thing that made us lose $1 billion. And I'm wondering if this is carryover from the film industry, because, like, if you think about it, and this was said on another podcast, this was said over at the Yo Video Games podcast, the film industry will take 10 losses to get the one big hit, because movies cost so much to make. Movies back in the 80s, they wanted those consistent funds because, like, like take Back to the Future or something else that's had like 3 or 4 movies. Like, when movies were billed to only make like $100 million or $200 million at the box office, they needed to be consistent and continue to make it. Now they want that $1 billion Spider-Man money, and they're willing to risk 9 losses to make that one-time $10 billion. That's why there's no that's why it's only tentpole movies or only blockbuster, no tentpoles.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about it.
That's a bad way of doing it.
I mean, it's just that thing of just like you said, they're willing to take that. I'm like, but there's no payout here. There's no successful live service game that has that the reward actually was worth the risk. Because every time you attach live service to something, it's like giving a game multiplayer that didn't need it. Like The Last of Us. Last of Us, I'll argue that all the time. The Last of Us never needs multiplayer. It is a single person campaign game. You never need multiplayer. Mass Effect, again, single player campaign, does not need multiplayer, but they try to attach to it anyway. So because everything out there, because this was around the heyday of Call of Duty, and this was around the heyday of Medal of Honor and those first person multiplayer games, everything had to be multiplayer. So the reason why I say that is like live service. There's no such thing as successful live service. Live service is there to nickel and dime you to death. That's what it's designed for. It is designed for microtransactions, and it is designed to basically really run your pockets. So again, the fact that, Warner Brother Games just seems to just be on this makes me cringe, because anytime you now see other games that are coming out that are associated with Warner Brothers, do you even want to give it the time of day? Because Suicide Squad, when we first saw the trailers, we first saw the trailers for it. It was great. It was awesome. But as gameplay came out, as testing betas came out, it just didn't bode well. So again,
we already told them no once.
Yeah.
We already told them no once. Remember Metaverses?
Yeah, I remember that. And that was another one, another live service that didn't do well.
Yeah, they had to pull their open beta down to fix it and re-release the product in a better stage at an indeterminate time. But they were more than willing to sell a battle pass that no one wanted for an open beta.
Yeah, think about that. I mean, crazy enough, that's the messed up part. But Warner Brothers is never going to learn. I've kind of just chalked it up to that. But again, I digress. But the last 2 stories we got before we get to Fallout, guys. Again, I'm kind of looking forward to what DC is going to do with this one for their crossover series, Absolute Power. For all those that don't know, DC is having an epic sort of crossover series called Absolute Power, in which this does involve Amanda Waller, who basically says that she, of course, for all those who don't know who Amanda Waller is, or know of the character, she basically is going to make good on the fact that she wants to rid the world of metahumans, but she's going to do so with help from Failsafe and the Brainiac Queen, in which she's going to steal the powers of every metahuman on Earth. So from that premise, it makes me want to read it, just because Amanda Waller, of course, for all those who know about Failsafe was in the, I want to say, next to recent run of Batman.
No, he's still going.
Oh, it's still going. Okay, the current run of Batman. Thank you. Okay, thank you. The current run of Batman. If you don't know about Failsafe, Failsafe is basically the robot Batman created to basically stop him if Batman ever went dark side. So and again, me and Joe kind of reviewed a few issues of Batman where it did include Failsafe and it did include Zorin and Raw. So again, go back to our other podcast episodes if you want to catch that. But the fact that Failsafe and the Brainiac Queen will both be a part of this. This makes me want to actually read this and see where they go with the story. This is basically going to be the team of writer Mark Waid and Anistan Mora. But again, I'm down with this. What about you, Joe?
I mean, this is DC's counter programming to Marvel's Blood Hunt, but they got Mark Waid of very famous thing. If you don't know who he is, he single-handedly made the Flash one of the most popular characters in the 90s with his legendary Wally run. No pun intended. He is currently working on one of the best books DC's putting out right now, which is Batman Superman's World Finest. Dan Mora, we've sung the praises of that man many a time. The principal artist on Power Rangers. This has just been going good. I like that they still have that cohesion because Amanda Waller has been the big bad in multiple DC formats for quite a while now, and the fact that she's leaping up to the big league in the forefront just shows how much faith they have in her to be a consistent villain.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's also one of the only she is Nick Fury times 10 and far more suspicious and mistrusting than Nick Fury could ever hope to be.
Yeah. I mean,
go ahead.
No, I was just saying, no, you're 100% right. I mean, Amanda Waller trusts nobody in the fact that she will use any and all means to basically carry out her mission. So I am just, it's interesting that whenever you see Amanda Waller, you see the Suicide Squad. And the fact that you're not seeing Task Force X, for all we know, let me stress this. The fact that we haven't seen a mention of Task Force X anywhere with absolute power does say something different, which I'm all for different storytelling without actually having put two together, but I'm looking forward to this when it comes out in the summer. But
I don't know if there is a Suicide Squad book. I know there's one that's tied to the video game, but I don't think they're actively doing a Suicide Squad book at the moment because, I probably could be wrong.
Well, they could be including them in absolute power then, if that's the case. If they don't got to run their own.
I know Roy is out doing something now, but I think Harley's part of Birds of Prey.
Okay.
I don't know where anybody else is at the moment right now because I'm only reading so many books right now.
Okay.
So I don't know if there is an active Suicide Squad book going at the moment.
No, that's good. That'll be good to know. But like I said, we got the summer to find out. So we'll definitely know about that. But Joe, I do got to ask you about this one because you have stumbled on something new. What if Watchmen had 6 Dr. Manhattans? So, sir, could you explain to those? Because again, I know I read a little bit about this and I'm kind of interested, but what is the power fantasy, sir?
Oh, this. So HBO, it means X-Men. So Kieran Gillian's is getting a new book. For those completely unaware, Kieran Gillian has been one of the 3 British brains of the X-Men franchise right now. I just wanted to promote this because Kieran Gillian is a solid writer, and I feel like he deserves all the credit in the world. So this is just promoting his new book, the series, The Power Fantasy with Casper Wingard.
Okay.
The artist. So that's all this really is. I just want to bring this attention. I will probably definitely look into it. We'll definitely give it a shot like we do everything else that comes along that I think would be good book to read or show some form of representation. And already we got 1, 2, possibly 3, 4 people of color in the book already.
Well, I like the premise that they're not really superheroes, but at the same time, they kind of have this kind of, I'm not going to say lackluster toward helping humanity, but it's different. And again, if they're trying to put in the world of Watchmen, Watchmen definitely had some gray area superheroes, and then you had some darker ones. So this makes me really look forward to this as far as this Power Fantasy series. But I like the premise of it all. I really do.
I mean, when you have the power of the god, you just kind of get bored with the mundane things of life. I mean, remember, Doom's been a god twice and gave it up both times. Well, once because he was just literally bored with it and Second time is because Miles gave Molecule Man a cheeseburger. So
yeah, that is also true. But we're definitely looking for that book release when it comes out, and like we usually do on our comic pool list, we'll definitely add it there. So, Fallout, Fallout, guys. Of course, we did play the trailer for it when we first saw it, but as we get closer to the release, they did come out with a new trailer for Fallout, and I do have to stress this very heavily. This is Amazon Prime. This is not for kids. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello there. I'm here to show you a wonderful place. A veritable Camelot, the nuclear age. Not made by God Almighty, but the working man. You can be a hero by purchasing a residence in a Vault-Tec vault today. Because if the worst should happen tomorrow, the world is going to need you to build a better day after.
The mission of the vaults should be important to everyone. To come up to the surface one day and restart civilization.
Can you tell me what's happened in the last 200 years?
Holy shit. You're an actual vault dweller.
I am. I thought all you dipshits were dead.
What you're doing is insane.
I don't want to set the world.
It isn't like the vault out there. It's big.
I just want to start.
I've had a rough week. Practically every person I've met up here has tried to kill me.
I'm simply going to harvest your organs.
You need to go home. You come from a world of rules, of laws. You should not be alone.
Why did you join the Brotherhood?
To hurt the people who hurt me?
People are going to come after you.
Ain't much stage cleanup here, Volty. Well, now that is a very small drop in a very, very large bucket of drugs. Look out at this wasteland. Looks like chaos, but there's always somebody behind the wheel.
What is happening here?
Everyone wants to save the world. They just agree on how.
There you are, you little killer.
And that, guys, was the trailer for Fallout. As you can see, will be coming out very soon, April the 11th. And again, heavily stress this: if you've seen the Fallout game, if you've seen the Fallout games, if you've played the Fallout games, anywhere from Fallout 76, New Vegas, the original Fallout, Vault Boy, you can go down the list. I'm sold because I'm a Fallout fan. So I'm definitely going to give this a watch when it definitely comes out April the 11th. Again, I have to stress this very heavily. It is not kid friendly. It is not. Please do not make the mistake of letting your children watch this. I am only stressing this as a parent because I know people go, oh, video game adaptation. No. Again, please don't let your kids watch this. Everybody else, enjoy. But Joe, what did you think?
What you're talking about is very child friendly. You wander the wasteland searching for teddy bears. You bring them back to your infinite storage space and put them there, all while listening to soothing 1930s and 40s music. There is nothing more wholesome than that.
As you hear, I don't want to set the world on fire. As you
Some
hear
of the lyrics are like that.
Oh God, but no, it looks interesting as all get out. But
is
go ahead.
the mutant sheriff the same one from the New Vegas, or is he is he an actual companion in the game?
No, in the game, no. He's
Okay.
he's actually your adversary in the game, but he's not your companion.
Okay.
Because he's in New Vegas, but he's basically like the big bad in New Vegas.
Okay.
But no, I'm loving it. That and they got Walter Coggins to play him. I'm like, oh, I'm loving this. But
I guess the only question now is, will Ron Perlman do the opening?
that is a good question.
Because I mean, it's not Fallout of war. If Ron Perlman doesn't tell you that war never changes.
Depends. Now you got to be looking forward to something on April 11th to see if we actually do get that voiceover. But no, aside from that, it definitely does look good. As we're getting ready, guys, to get to our comic pools, again, we always want to stress very heavily, and we want to show love first and foremost to Rick's Comic City. Again, Nashville's #1 place for comic books. They have 2 locations, Nashville, Tennessee, and Clarksville, Tennessee. So you can definitely check them out for your comics, for your mangas, for your anime, collector's items, things of that nature. If you want it, they have it. Again, Nashville's go-to place for the last 7 years for this type of thing. Also, go to rickscomiccity.com if you definitely want to check them out there. If you want to do pull lists, order card covers, things of that nature, trades, you can do so from online as well. If you are not in the Middle Tennessee area, guys, please support your local comic book stores, support your local libraries, especially the libraries, because, guys, we cannot stress this enough when it comes to local libraries. Kids, if you listen to us, hi. There's a lot of things that are going on in life that right now you may not have a lot of knowing about, but they are basically trying to take books away from you. Long story short, guys, read the banned books. We cannot stress this enough. You can definitely find a list of your banned books in your local library. So your library is not just good for comics and comic books and anime and manga, but read the banned books. There's so much other stuff you can read there and learn, because I guarantee there's something in those banned books they don't want you to learn that you should learn. So definitely check them out. Aside from that, guys, like I said, if you're in the Middle Tennessee area, definitely check out Rick's Comic Book City. If you are not in the Middle Tennessee area, guys, support your local comic book stores, support your local libraries, and kids, read the banned books. Joe, I see that your lineup is ready, sir. So whenever you're ready.
Oh, we got Blue Beetle #7. This is written by a ridiculous amount of people. Written by Josh Trujillo with art by Andre Gutierrez, Natasha Bustos, Howard Porter, Cully Hammer, Scott Collins, with guest artists by Will Quintana. Bustos hi-fi coloring is by Laura Martin and Luis Guerrero, with love to Keith Giffen. This is basically our in-betweener book from the last series to this one, to the next arc, where Jaime has had some fallout. Forced him to kill the Red Scarab, so Jaime's having to deal with that. Meanwhile, Booster shows up and just like takes him on a time-traveling trip to find Ted Kord, who was injured previously by the Red Scarab. Along he meets some very, very obscure DC characters, such as Ambush Bug and the Heckler, and Joni, the DC continuity cop, who pretty much just tells him, get your origin together because it's overly complicated for these new readers. This is just a good, fun book. We get to see a litany of areas and time frames for Jaime to go visit. He visits the Bwahaha era, the Legion era, talks to his mom, and all sorts of fun things. It was a fun read. Nice little intro, nice little filler issue, but also kind of answers some stuff.
Yeah, it was definitely. I kind of got a Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure vibe every time Booster Gold showed up, but no, I enjoyed it. It was a good issue.
Next up, we got Kneel Before Zod #3. This is written by Joe Casey and Dan McDad as the artist, with David Barron as colors. So the word gets the Coons continue. Ursa's just not having it with Zod. Zod's still trying to be weird, I guess is the best way of putting it. Like, he's still not himself, but he's definitely, like, putting effort into fighting back the Coons. But, like, Ursa's just not having it, and she's out on her own. And the Coons make a very strategic move that puts the Kryptonians on the back foot, and we do have casualties this issue.
Yeah. Casualties I didn't really see coming. That was interesting.
The question is, how long are they gone for, and who's exactly gone?
True. I want no. Let me leave that alone. I'm not gonna speculate. I'm gonna let that one sit until the next issue.
This was a good issue. I think this has been fun the whole time. Got to give it to the wife of Zod. She is far more dangerous. Also, for the fact that his given name is Drew, always takes Zod down a few notches to me. It's like when you hear that his name is Drew Zod, just like, you're not as menacing as I thought you were.
That might explain why he's always angry. When a name like that might explain his anger level. But just saying.
It's like in the Drew Carey episode where you hear his full name. Drew Allison Carey's like, his mom was hoping for a girl. So, popping on over to Power Ranger Academy. This is number 5. We've been looking at this book here and there. This is dealing with the fall of the last issue where Sage, our main character, along with cadets from her class, go to the planet to see if they can obtain power coins or some form of morphing ability. 2 of her friends do. One person breaks his leg, and one of her dorm roommates just does not, while the other one becomes the Black Ranger. Sage, for whatever reason, gets the Green Ranger abilities, which no one talks about the Green Ranger and the 6th color, which no one talks about. And potentially she may have both the green and white coin. That was a little unclear on which one she had, because she had 2 lightning bolts, but I wasn't quite sure. But she's definitely the Green Ranger because all of her text boxes have now shifted to green. But no one talks about the 6th house, and it's potentially forgotten. So she oh God, something's wrong with me. So this has been a pretty interesting chapter. The book is still very, very interesting to read. The only problem I'm really going to hate is they're going to end up doing a liar revealed plot here soon, because she's passing it off because one of her friends is very down on herself that she did not get the ability to morph. So she's playing off as like, nope, didn't work for me either. We're best buddies. While the other one that got the Black Ranger ability is like, so are you moving out to the black chroma house? Like,
right.
Nah, we don't shift until 2nd year. We're still 1st years.
That's still interesting. But no, it was a little bit long. I will say this issue was a little bit long, but I mean,
there was a ton of info dumping.
Yeah.
Especially with the teacher that knew her dad. Man, that thing was just like, are you just like Space Billy Cranston or what?
Right.
Moving on over into Marvel, we got Doctor Strange, written by Jed McKay, and art by Pascal Ferro with colors by Heather Moore. So, remember when D&D was 1980 Satanic Panic? That is literally the plot of this episode, because he even brings it up. Supposedly, they found some random kids found the 1 copy of D&D, which actually does leave a portal to the human realm that makes the whole city of New York into a game, and Doctor Strange must assemble a new era of secret defenders according to the board game rules. So he is the sorcerer. He must get a warrior, a priest, and a thief. So we get Taskmaster, Hunter's Moon, and Black Cat.
That is still interesting. And the fact that the costumes afterwards, it's like, hey, we gotta play by the world's rules. Taskmaster was all.
It was his wife. It's like, who are these horrible people? Why do you know another woman with white hair? And then Felicia opens her mouth. She's like, never mind. She is horrible.
He's like, she was her. You want to talk about somebody was arrested assured? That was funny. She's like, never mind. I thought,
like, oh, she's no threat to me at all.
Good God. But no, it was definitely funny. Taskmaster was the one that was gung-ho about everything.
Love Taskmaster.
Taskmaster was like, oh, cool. It's just hack and slash? Cool. I was like,
I like his actual reasoning too. It's like, oh, I just got to go in and do this. Like, wait, you're joining just like that? It's like, oh yeah, no, you don't get it. Villains will pay me money and just leave me out there to rot. But if you guys need me, which I've worked with you guys on the right side of the law before, remember Avengers Academy, you won't allow me to die because it will be like on your conscience. And it'll be like, oh, he was a villain, but he didn't deserve it. Oh, woe is him, the cruel devil.
But it's funny where it's like, God dang it, his logic makes sense. It's like, God dang it. It's like you can't really leave him because you'll have that survival skill. And he's like, and that's what I'm banking on. It's like that's why you'll let me die. But no, I want to keep up with this because I really want to see where they go with this. It's like it's D&D with Doctor Strange, but it works. Somehow it works.
I like Hunter's Moon. It's like, oh, Marco, do a favor. All right, I'm down. That's literally the crux of Hunter's Moon in this. Who's in a all-black version of Mr. Knight. I don't think I've ever seen him in that attire before.
No, that's the first time I've seen it. I don't think I want to say you're probably right. I've never really seen him. I never really seen the Hunter's Moon version of Mr. Knight, so I have to agree with that.
Yep. So, moving on over, we got She-Hulk number 6. This is written by Rainbow Rowell with art by Ig Guerrera and colors by D. Cafini. She-Hulk just takes a vacation in outer space with her boyfriend because her minor tussle with other Hulks not related to her and the arrival of her cousin forced her to take a 2-week sabbatical so it does not damage the law firm that she's with. And since the most beautiful and most ugly humans are without a home, and just like, yeah, just stay here. We're going to go to space for a couple weeks, have some fun. Go to a place where Jack is always topped off so we can have our fun. Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, it does make sense. If you're gonna go somewhere, you might as well go somewhere you could soak up radiation and not gamma. I mean, you can't knock that.
So, all in all, good book. Art's still fantastic. It's just a fun read. The She-Hulk run is fun. It is fun and pretty to look at. Moving on over to less fun thing, actually very fun things, but to quote Mr. Wynn from Hey Arnold, it's very creepy. So this is Ultimate X-Men, written and art by Peach Momoko, script adaptation by Jack Davison, and I guess she also did colors too. So Ultimate X-Men in this universe is going to be predominantly in Japan. This is, I forget what her name is. I know it's Armor, but I forget her actual name.
No, I forgot that. I was going by Armor. That and the Susano just kept on messing with me.
I'll let that go. This came before Susano.
Still can't let it go, but go ahead.
Hisako Ichiki. This is a tale of how she gets her powers and starts up the X-Men in Japan. Of course, because this is in the Ultimate Universe, Japan is ruled over by more powerful mutants such as Sunfire and Silver Samurai as part of the House of Things. This is a very Junji Ito style comic book, but Peach Momoko, that woman can draw like nobody's business in such gorgeous watercolor style books. The crux of this issue is we're getting to know I just forgot her name again.
That
Hisako.
fast?
I think it should be. You remember, Hisako's from Killer Instinct.
Yeah, and I was gonna say Hisako. I'm like that. Don't know about that'd be different. So if you want to call her a killer gunshot.
So Hisako is going to school with friends and gets a note from his mysterious boy. We learn that this potentially may be the ghost of a boy that committed suicide due to bullying. Although to me, the way this is represented, I wonder if this is like this universe's version of the Shadow King, because very, very Junji Ito vibes on the main villain for this book right off the bat. So it's Hisako manifesting her powers for the first time. As she, as I'd like to say, Truck-kun tried his best, but for this time, he did not get to isekai a kid.
Yeah, makes sense. But still the armor.
Yeah.
Still the armor. I'm sorry. I can't get my mind is stuck on the armor, but go ahead.
I do like that the book also gave a lexicon about certain things in Japan, such as the Omori, various type of charms, what the representation of the second button off a male student uniform is, the 5 yen coin, the gain a sandal charm, the flute charm, the fan-shaped charm. It was just very, very helpful from Peach Momoko to give these things because, this is very, very in-depth Japanese culture.
Yeah.
You very rarely deal with. Even in some animes, you don't deal with this much cultural lexicon as normal stuff. So there's that. Next issue will be moving. Saka will meet her first member of her X-Men team, which is Summer Storm or Spring Storm, which is the Ultimate Universe Storm's protege. So that one, I really enjoyed this. Little creeped out, but because I'm not a big horror person, did not expect to see certain things in this book the way they're represented. But she, her style lends very well to horror very easily.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It did definitely have a horror vibe to it, but I did kind of dig it, considering the fact of how I was kind of curious to see how they would do Ultimate X-Men, considering the fact that we just started Black Panther and now we started Black Panther and Spider-Man. Both have been exceptional runs so far for their issues. So I am definitely not disappointed in Ultimate X-Men, the issue 1 that came out. So I got no complaints. They can keep up with this type of storytelling. And like you said, show some things about Japanese culture, which I did not know. So I did get a little bit of learning out of this too. So I'm pleased. I liked it.
Oh, yeah. Moving on over, we got X-Men 32. This is written by Jerry Duggan with art by Phil Noto, meaning Joe automatically bought this book. I mean, I was going to get the book anyways. It's X-Men, but, it's Phil Noto. Anytime Phil Noto pops up, I get it. We're just taking a peek in. The fall of Orchis is still going on. We see where Lockheed's at. We're getting in touch with one of my favorite people of the X-Men, Magic. She is storming an Orchis base, trying to figure out how to get the nanobots out of her to cure her because she knows something's wrong with her powers because she can't access them, and she is dying from it. But that doesn't mean she's not going to leave just a long trail of bodies all the way through Norch's base to get it. I love that Polaris comes in still holding a cup of coffee. I wonder if that's the same cup of coffee she had last time from Fall of X #2, where she shows up in nowhere and raids their canteen.
If it is the same one, for it to be terrible coffee, she's still sipping on that same cup.
Look, beggars can't be choosers. I drink hospital coffee all the time. I still have never heard of lines prior to Royal Coffee until I worked in the hospital. Stuff is terrible, but drinkable. As long as you put half a cup of water in there.
Damn, that's kind of bad.
Oh, it's rough. The other thing we learn is Emma is rolling around trying to free more mutants with her wonderful wedding gift from Tony, her repulsor ray brass knuckles, where I'm fairly certain she murders 2 people in this issue.
Oh yeah, that did kind of look like that was a fatality. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, it looks like she just like vaporized the upper torso of 2 people with her knuckles. I do like this, like, oh, it's Emma Frost. We got psi inhibitors and everything. We're fine. Oh, darling.
It's like, oh well, I mean, they protect against blast. They place a repulsor blast. It's not even the stun version. The wild part is it wasn't even the stun version. It was the full on just I'm throwing everything at you version. Just Jesus.
And that's the Marvel vs. Capcom. Here's one for baby.
Yeah. I'll put it that way. About right.
Always a fantastic book. God, I love this stuff so much. But it's especially good because wonderful art. It's my favorite character. It's most of my favorite characters in Polaris and Magic. So I like how they discuss why they weren't at the gala. It's like, oh, portal fritzed out. I couldn't get there. What about you? Depression.
Damn.
Feel bad about not going. Now I'm glad I didn't.
It's like talk about dodging a bullet, literally.
By the way, also, guys, seriously, depression is not something to laugh about. But in this thing, it was a humorous way to like address something.
But we do recommend to seek help and assistance if you are dealing with depression. Please not do the Deadpool version. Yes, please not do the Deadpool version of laughing, of using humor to hide real pain. So we just got to throw that out there.
And then Book of the Week, Spectacular Spider-Man. This is written by Greg Weisman with art, thankfully, by Humberto Ramos. Inker is Victor Olazaba, coloring by Edgar Delgado.
Mm-hmm.
I miss good Spider-Man so much, and now we have it.
Accurately drawn Spider-Man?
I mean, Humberto Ramos single-handedly did all of Spider Island, so...
I'm sorry. I just had to message you on that one. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're not messing with me. I'm agreeing with you. We also get to see in this book returning cast characters, such as Jashawn Nugent from when Peter was hanging around with Flash Thompson since Flash had just gotten his Agent Venom powers.
Mm-hmm.
Some of Miles' cast comes back with Keenan Kong, come back as a barista. God bless Peter, trying to become a regular after 12 weeks.
It's still
so good. We get to meet the good Warren brother of the Warren family of doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Who I think he is like a legitimate good guy. But we also get to deal with a giant Hulk version of the Jackal.
Yeah. A messed up version of the Jackal. It's like, when did he get wings? It's like, apparently he decided to mix his DNA with a bird.
But, I mean, the most important thing is this was a good book. It was very well written. The art was fantastic. No one looked blocky. No one looked like their arm had armor or scales on it. I could tell who people were. I mean, it's not that John Romita Jr. is making people look similar. It's just I can't deal with his art anymore. I just can't.
He just can't draw people. He can't draw certain characters. Let's just say his ability to draw certain characters is lacking.
Again, I bet that man can draw a Fantastic Hulk. And we see what his artwork used to be like. It was spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
Just simply amazing. I am making Spider-Man puns on purpose, but that's because how good his art used to be. Now, not so much. Humberto Ramos, on the other hand, I mean, he's doing the cover work here. This looks fantastic.
Yeah.
The character interactions with Greg Weisman, for those unaware, this is that Greg Weisman. Gargoyles Greg Weisman, Young Justice Greg Weisman, Spectacular Spider-Man Greg Weisman. He is writing this book, which is why the dialogue in the story is consistent and funny and snappy and moving.
But still funny. It's like, well, how do we meet up? How do we do this? I'm like, It's funny, the whole thing of, okay, so so we meet up and we just happen to talk and drink coffee, pretty much. So we're not going to talk about anything else. Nah, it's going to be depressing.
Even up here where they're telling their stories, I love the, like, Miles, like, Mike gave me all the same abilities, but also the ability to camouflage and a bioelectric charge that I can use to, like, a sting or form a sword. Peter, that's unfair. But anyways,
the pettiness of it. That was the petty side in the intro, but no, it was definitely
best part is the ordering the coffee, and it's like, wait, how did he get yours right the first time? I used the app. Peter's like, you do things the easy way.
He's like, how do you know that? How do you know you'll be a regular? I said, are we doing a whole coffee bit about how to order coffee, and we're seeing the old generation versus the new generation right now? I was like, so Peter has finally reached the boomer stage. Damn.
Yep. And like Miles, like, finally, after it's like, finally, I'm a regular. Yes, after 12 weeks. Quiet, you.
That's still petty, but no, it was a good issue. I liked it.
Yes, we will only be looking at this Spider-Man book for a while, at least until the Ben and Kane book come out.
Yeah,
I think is the next storyline. So now we actually have to read the next Spider-Man stuff. Crap. Oh well, it's for Ben. I'll support it.
We'll soldier through it. It's still funny. That is still funny. But anyway, what else we got, Joe? Was that it?
No, that's it. That book of the week is Spectacular Spider-Man. Go read it. Please make it sell. I want Spectacular to replace Amazing as the main Spider-Man book.
He hopes and prays. All right, guys. Well, as we wrap this up, and call it night, Joe, you want to let people know what you're doing? Because I believe you have a very special event that's going to take you away from us next week.
Yeah, I'll be in New York City with the rest of the Tennessee Ghostbusters. We are going to be at the premiere of Frozen Empire. I plan on carrying a small mirror to make sure Paul Rudd is not actually a vampire. We will be all over the place doing like film tours and seeing the firehouse, seeing the Statue of Liberty, eating. I will be living off dollar slice pizza and whatever fish I can get my hands on, since I'm in an ocean bound state.
Yeah.
So there's that. Other than that, I'll be on Show a Guy Joe. I got episode 2, which I will probably be releasing tomorrow night, of the watch review of Boon Boonger episode 2. As you can see, I'm fully invested. I actually got the Megazord back there.
Nice.
Boon Changer. Other than that, I'm still streaming some stuff every now and then. I tried to stream Helldivers 2 earlier this morning, but he had some server problems, so I couldn't log on. Then I decided to do the easy thing and take a nap. At some point, I will probably be streaming Tekken again. I'm just waiting for like all the patches and stuff to be done in this latest round before I jump back in. I mean, Dragunov is still probably a problem, and he still does too much damage too easily, but and probably does need to be nerfed. I'll be the first one to say it. If I play the character, I know what's up. I still got to practice how to break grabs. That's about it.
Okay. All right. Well, with that also being said, guys, definitely do check out for Joe, and I'm kind of jealous that he'll be able to see Ghostbusters Frozen Empire up close and personal, and going to see whether or not Paul Rudd's a vampire. My money's on yes. But anyway, we want to do some shameless plugging before we do get out of here, guys. I do want to shout out to my buddy Vaughn at BigBZA and all social media. Definitely check out his YouTube page and his music page for beats for practically anything. But definitely check him out, BigBZA on all social media. Let me not also forget about Blur Station, guys. Again, it is a conglomerate that myself and others are a part of, that again is where people of color can actually enjoy anime, mangas, original shows like Issue 1, where comic book creators try to get their first issues of their comics printed. Again, I cannot stress this enough, guys. This is the type of thing we ask for that is different from Amazon, Hulu, Netflix. This is something that is built for us, that can be sustained by us. And again, it's $10.99 a month. If you do join, guys, please select the Blurred's View Affinity membership. Please select anybody under there, whether myself or Black Spartan and many others. But again, at $10.99 a month and 36 months, guys, you have the ability to own a piece of Blur Station. Yes, a whole lot easier than earning a share of Netflix or Amazon or Hulu. I can tell you that off the bat. But at the same time, guys, I cannot stress this enough, that for the simple fact of the matter, when you look at networks like Tubi, which again, Tubi, Fox, those are things were all built off the back of people of color content creators. Also, speaking of content creators, if you do want to bring your content to Blur Station, first you do have to join us. But after you join us, there is a section to where you can make your pitch to Blur Station and hopefully get your content created there. The only thing about that content is you own it 100%. They just want the distribution on it. So they do want a piece of it. But that's the way the world works. Everybody's got to get a piece of something. But again, check out Blur Station. You get a chance. Please sign up for it. Again, we cannot do this type of thing without you. As for myself, guys, you can find me, Black_Spartan615 on the socials, as I do reviews on mostly everything out there, including wrestling and gym stuff, because, well, I find both things fun. Also, the link at the bottom, if you make it, copy and take that link into your browser. Will take to my link tree. That's YouTube and Facebook groups for all the podcasts. How the Friend Got Here, Get Bit, and Off Limits podcast. Get Bit podcast and How the Friend Got Here can be found on various platforms. Almost every platform to where you can see or hear these podcasts, you can definitely find them there. And much like PBS, guys, I cannot stress this enough. We cannot do this without you, without your support, but you liking, following, turning on your notification subscriptions, telling people about it. Word of mouth is the greatest weapon that we have against the algorithm. And trust me, we need all the help we can get because it's no longer Black History Month. So the algorithm has decided to turn its ugly head and go back to normal. But if you like our show, please let us know. If you don't like our show, we still want to know. But at the same time, we want to know everything that we've talked about and the trailers that we talked about, the comics that we talked about. We still want your opinion, guys, on everything here because that's what we do. We continue the conversation with fandoms. And like I said, follow us, let us know what you think, and we go from there. But as we wrap this up, guys, we will definitely be back here. Same Get Bit time, same Get Bit channel. Joe will probably try to see if he can sneak in something while he's up there in New York for the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire premiere. We'll try. If not, then he'll be back with us the week after next to explain everything that happened up there and whether or not Paul Rudd's a vampire. But as far as the show, guys, we'll be back here. Same Get Bit time, same Get Bit channel. And again, all we ask for, guys, is share what you know, share the show. Let us know. That's all we ask. But Joe, any last words we call tonight, sir?
I'm very tired.
I mean, I can understand it. But the last thing I'll say about basically the last thing we'll say about Give It Podcast, guys, it's all about fandoms. We know them, we love them, we share them, we debate them, we form our lives around it. If you haven't seen that, I mean, the Akira Toriyama Dragon Ball commercial is a shining example of how we treat our fandoms. And the thing about our fandoms is we love them, we protect them, but we do not want to be toxic gatekeepers. We don't want to down somebody whose opinion is different than ours. We simply love it, acknowledge it, and accept it, and try to bring others into it. Because basically, fandoms are like a big-ass club. We want everybody to join and have fun with it. That's all we ask for. In the words of Will Wheaton, don't be a dick. But with that being said, guys, we're definitely going to call tonight. We thank you all who watched, who liked, who shared, who let This Is Notices live. We certainly appreciate it all. We will definitely see you guys back here next Friday. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we will get through this. Hopefully, you guys have a nice little weekend. For all those that are enjoying spring break, be safe, have fun. We'll catch you later. Peace.